This episode is brought to you by the spring cleaning champions, Manscaped. This season, make sure to groom your carpets and the drapes with the leaders in below-the-waist grooming. Clear out that winter bush with Manscaped's Lawnmower 5.0 and watch your confidence bloom like the springtime flowers. Embrace the season and join the 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our special offer. Go to manscaped.com, use the code SHOW20 for 20% off plus free shipping. After using Manscaped, I can finally say I have caught the spring fever. Introducing the season's champ, the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. Their 5th generation trimmer features 2 interchangeable next-gen skin-safe blade heads, a standard one for taking a little off the top, and a new foil blade to go smooth wherever your heart desires. It also features dual LED spotlights to guide you through the darkest winter debris. Navigate with confidence in your delicate areas. Hate making a mess? Not to worry. This bad boy is waterproof. Shave in the shower, in the bath, in the ocean, anywhere you get wet. I love this thing because it comes with a compact case and I take mine with me wherever I go. Spring cleaning doesn't just apply to the nether regions. Get the full grooming experience with Manscaped's signature Beard Hedger Pro Kit and Handyman Electric Face Shaver. Whether you're looking to craft your signature look or clean up that neckline, these are always the right tools for the job. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code SHOW20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code SHOW20 at manscaped.com. Nothing like a little spring cleaning in your pants. Hello everyone and welcome to the FM show. I am your host Tony Jameson, and joining me as always is the man you've come for, Mr. RDF Tactics, Aaron Falloon. How are you, buddy? Are you well?
Well, you don't have to ask that question. I was just going to pull it out and get the badge out. Get the Arsenal badge out. You ain't even got to. I've been waiting for that question, Tony. You don't know. Oh Lord. For the audio listeners, I just zipped down my hoodie there so everyone can see the Arsenal badge shining through as Arsenal just won in the North London derby to keep ourselves in the title race. So it was kind of a big game, to be honest. Like Tottenham needed the points to make sure they can stay in the Champions League positions. And yeah, obviously we needed the points to stay in the title race. So it was a big game. And yeah, I mean, I felt every emotion going 3-0 up so early. I just felt, you feel like one goal. If Tottenham score one goal, it's like, it's going to be horrible. But then I didn't feel like they were going to score a goal until we just made a mistake out of nowhere. And then it was like, oh, here we go again, sort of thing. It was horrible.
We've said this on FM, haven't we? That 4-0 is the most dangerous score. You 4-0 up going,
it's just crazy. And it's one of those things that in Football Manager, it's like, how does the AI keep doing it? Like they score one and then all of a sudden the momentum shifts and it was just like, today you saw it, score one and the momentum shift is just crazy, man. But yeah, I'm doing really well, of course. Yes, big smile on my face. Big smile.
Little peek behind the curtain for all of our listeners. We normally record on a Thursday, but we didn't record on a Thursday. So imagine what Aaron's mood would have been like on Thursday without an Arsenal match. How are you, Aaron? I'm just tired, a little bit down, like just looking forward to a bit of stress because the derby happening. Of course, we record on a Sunday night. And look at that, he's Mr. Sunshine again.
It's just, it's a great feeling. I think, I'm just happy that we obviously won, but obviously staying in the title race. I wasn't too excited about the title race, not overly excited, obviously excited, but not overly excited because I just thought, man, City got to play Nottingham Forest and they're technically in the driving seat. If they win their games in hand, then they're first. So it was like, And they're kind of like, I'm going to have to put the Forest top on for 90 minutes.
It didn't work, though, did it? It didn't work.
No, it didn't work. And it's frustrating because another football man that I think that they got a bit FM'd. They've missed horrible chances. And it was just like, oh, my God.
Yeah. See, this is why you need to just like support a team that's not involved in anything like that. Just just go.
My local team's Cheltenham, but they just suffered relegation. So
ooh.
Yeah, it's a bit.
Yeah,
Big games all over the place.
Yeah, shout out to Blythe Spartans, who unfortunately dropped out of the National League North as well. So
Oh, no.
that's a bit of a tough one. Therefore, not playable on next season's game, I think, possibly. So that's a bit of a concern. Sunderland basically
Sunderland.
instant resulting until the end of the season.
Sunderland.
Sunderland are doing a rebuild. They're just like, let's just sim through this. We're not fussed. We'll get to the end. We'll try again. But that's cool, man. I'm glad to hear that you're well. Obviously, I'm going to say I'm well as well. I've not got an Arsenal top one. I've got again for the audio listeners, I've got a Jacksonville Jaguars t-shirt on today because it's the NFL draft weekend. So get my.
No idea. No idea.
You haven't none of it. You haven't none of it.
No idea. Draft weekend. Draft of Football Manager just popped in my head.
Well, this is the thing, though. It all links together. That's one of those things. I watch all that stuff, and it's great. There was an interesting thing, though. Obviously, we don't normally talk real football on the podcast, but I feel as though we probably should.
It did feel a bit like, but this feels new.
I know. This is scary water, Aaron. I feel like I'm in the boat, right? And I'll be honest with you, I've got my 25-meter swimming badge, and that's it. Right? I haven't got. If we go much further out, I think we're out here and we're stuck. Right? But was I reading correctly over the course of the week that there's going to be some motion towards playing games out in America, particularly La Liga, are looking to try and take some games out there.
Horrible.
And then obviously England are trying to get more things, like they want the Super Bowl over here, they want WrestleMania. And it's like, and I do feel a little bit, and apologies if this alienates any of our sort of like listeners from outside of the UK, I do feel a little bit like the UK has a snobbery around it. Like this whole thing of, well, we can't possibly play our league games out in another country. That's ridiculous. Yet we have the Jacksonville Jaguars playing a league game every single year on the NFL. We have four actual NFL games played in England now. There's games played out in Germany and Mexico. And we're trying to bid for WrestleMania. And it's like, but we can't have our sports, but give us your sports. We'll do it better. It's like, can't have it both ways.
Because all of that stuff, okay, WrestleMania is a bit different, but all the other stuff like NFL, that's all like even when like they used the Emirates, I was like, huh? That's not football. What's going on there? Like in my head, like I was still old. I'm like, I couldn't figure out how they're gonna sort the pitch out. Like that's in my head, I'm like, but how isn't their pitch like a bit bigger and stuff like that? In my head, I'm like a bit slow like that. But I'm all new to that. But the idea of playing, I wouldn't mind playing a game. Like I don't like the preseason feels fine with me, like because it's like a whole tour and stuff. But I can't imagine like playing a Premier League game. Just
could you imagine in the middle Bournemouth versus Everton played in like
that's what I mean.
Wisconsin,
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. Well, it'd probably be Fulham, wouldn't it? Because obviously the same owners, the Jags and Fulham. But then again, it does also then lend in and again.
I'm pushing for a final.
Oh, the Carabao Cup final played in Vancouver. Welcome to the Johnston's Paints Trophy.
Oh man!
Currently played in Athens, out in Greece.
It's interesting. I wonder what it will be a decent turnout though if the MLS did like an all-star game in Wembley. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah,
Messi will be there, so instant.
Would it though? Would it? Do you reckon it would be, or do you reckon it would be the other way around? Like if I reckon that because obviously there's
it would definitely
Arsenal and Villa and Man U and Liverpool, I think, they're playing like a sort of post-season tournament at the end of the season going off. Because obviously, now that the cup replays have been scrapped, Premier League teams are able to just, play these extra tournaments that obviously, rest the players. That, one FA Cup replay clearly destroys players, but all these money matches that they can do, they can now go and get those done so they don't have to play a third-round replay against Wrexham, right? That's where we're at.
Yeah, even that wasn't I didn't like fully read it, so I'm not really sure about it, like the details behind it. But even like losing the replays, the ideas of that, I'm just like, it's just every year I just feel like they're just chipping away at football, just making it less football than that I knew about. Yeah, that's what it just feels like each year. Even now next year, the big offside rules changing as well. So it's like,
is it the Wenger rule or something? Isn't it?
Yeah. And it's just like it's like a whole new thing to get used to.
should say at this point, just to bring it back to Football Manager in some sense, okay?
That rule has to be in Football Manager, so
yeah, it'll be in Football Manager, so therefore we can talk about it. We spoke on Patreon with FM girl Alice. She had another episode came out a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about, do we want FM to be perfect? Right, and it was a question that I posed. I was like, do you want FM to be perfect? And she was like, what do you mean? I said, well, if FM's perfect, we're classing it as a perfect representation and simulation of football, which, to be quite frank, is a bit rubbish, really. Football's a bit dull and a bit predictable, and we've got, people arguing about VAR and stuff and about like loads of other different things, and they want it to almost too sort of surgical now. Like, look at it, this Man City team are amazing, but they're just there's no individual freedom anymore. Like, these players at the elite level are programmed to just follow instructions. So I think that playing a video game that isn't perfect allows me that kind of like, hey, I remember when football used to be fun, and I get to do it that way.
And it's also like Football Manager's also like, for me anyway, it's like you're going into your own world.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it would be no point, like it wouldn't become an escape, if you know what I mean. Like, you're just leaving real football because it's not on, then playing a game that's simulating real football. Like, it doesn't really. It's hard. I do want some simulation up to a point, like the way football's being played, I guess, and that sort of stuff. But I want to be able to take Wrexham from where they are to the Premier League. And if you're going to simulate football, then that will not happen, sort of thing. You know what I mean? So if you're going to make Football Manager perfect, like a perfect simulation, I don't think it will be as enjoyable. It's not a game. And Football Manager needs that game element to it still.
Could you imagine though, right? If they do, and this is gonna actually, you know what? I think we've now found the link as to how we talk about what we're going to talk about, what we're going to talk about today, right? We weren't going to put it at the top of the show. We were going to lead into it.
Yeah.
But I think if we put it as the little pin, right, here we go, right? We're talking about if we make Football Manager a perfect replication of football. Oh, it's going to lose a lot of people, isn't it? Because it's going to be, if you pardon my French, it's going to be fucking hard. Like, it's going to be really difficult. Because you don't want to pick a team. Let's face it, look at the list of previous winners of every competition. Most leagues, there's only about 3 winners in the last few years, 10 years or whatever, 20 years. It's about half a dozen winners or something. If you're sat and you pick even Villa, Tottenham, what's your chance of winning something?
Yeah, you're just going to be mingling around that top 4 for about a good 6-7 years until you're able to buy those players. And then but it's crazy. Like, but I do wonder who, because there is people that say like Football Manager is not realistic, but I wonder about those people, because like on stream in the second season, Aston Villa won the Champions League. Now, it could have been so easy for everyone's reaction to be like, oh, that would never happen, blah, blah, blah. But we're like, that's amazing sort of thing. Like, we're all like started following the manager, then following, because it was Slot. So Arteta got sacked. So then Arsenal brought back Emery. So I'm like, Arsenal won the league with Emery. Well, how did Aston Villa do? Check Aston Villa. They won the Champions League sort of thing. And it was just like, that's our world. And that's what just made everything. And that made the save more exciting sort of thing. Like, and now we're Sparta Rotterdam. And it's like, hey, maybe we got our eye on the European trophy if Aston Villa can do it, sort of thing. But we're just looking around different leagues, and each year now, there's like a different winner. And I don't think I've actually seen Man City win the league yet, but it's just been like Arsenal one year, then I can't remember. It's like Liverpool, for an example, another year. I think even Newcastle as well, one year. So it's just different. Even La Liga, we've seen like different winners in La Liga as well.
Really?
Bundesliga, Bundesliga, different winners. And that's the sort of thing that you want to see as well. Whereas, like, in real life, if you want to simulate the Bundesliga, for example, it's just going to be buying. You get that 1 year, Leverkusen. You get that one off season, and then it's just back to buying.
Yeah,
you don't
I guess that with us doing Build a Nation, like, we've seen AEK Athens win a European Cup.
Yeah.
You haven't seen that really in the league, in real life, I should say. Sorry. Recently, we've seen Panathinaikos win a European Cup. We've seen Panathinaikos get to 2 European finals. Like we're building. Again, I guess because of the way the game's designed, our teams are more prevalent in these competitions because we're pushing each other on. It's not a perfect replication of what you do in real life. Like, obviously, you know, our aim is to topple the Premier League. That's what we're trying to do in that save. We want to knock the Premier League off its pedestal as you know, in game, the best league in the world. We want, obviously, to challenge that and make the Greek Super League the best league in the world, or the best league in Europe. And imagine trying to do that in real life. That's not doable in a lifetime, never mind in game time, right? That's going to take some serious cash.
But then again, going back to the main point of the show today, is the balance, is what people searching for. Is it a better balance in... I don't want to say the title of the show yet.
Should we just ask the question? Okay.
Before we give the new patrons a shout out, we'll quickly ask that question. Yeah, you go.
Is FM too easy?
That's the big question, and that's a question that I've been seeing, especially on the forums as well. But like a lot of blog, not mainly. It's not like content creators saying it. It's mainly what I'm seeing and reading from people that play the game, put in hours, and then obviously use the blogs on the forum sites. And that is a question that has come up a lot. And that's what I mean. Is the balance between the realism and it's too easy? Is it perfect? Maybe not. But is Football Manager too easy? We'll answer that. We'll get stuck into that.
I feel as though that's like we've got the question. We've got the question.
Yeah.
Right there then. Is it too easy? And there's probably people screaming at their laptops, screaming at their audio devices, whatever it is they're listening to or watching it on, going, yes, it is too easy. No, it's not too easy. Like, and there's not going to be, I don't think anyway, I don't think we're going to be able to get a one size fits all. Yes, the game is too easy. The game is too difficult. I think what the game is, and of course, remembering that it is a game, what the game has to do is it has to strike, as you say, Aaron, that balance between someone who's brand new to FM and has never played FM before. They come in, they load this game up, and they go, right, what are we doing here? Okay, football, right? I understand the basics of what I'm supposed to do. Right, what am I going to do? Is there a chance I can be successful at this game? Okay, they've got to make it that for someone who's walked in first time. Okay, so they've got to make it accessible. They've then got to make it accessible for you and I and the people who've been playing it for 30 years, coming in going, right, you know what? Last year, I won everything. This year, I don't want to win everything again. Is it going to be a little bit more difficult? So how do you strike that balance? And obviously, there's going to be some people in there who go, I just want to win everything. And I don't really care. Because some video games are incredible, but they're simple and they're easy. And people sort of go, that's fine. But I don't know. I'm still on the fence with this. I don't think this is as easy as everyone says it is, you know.
I think there's different elements to it, ain't it? I think people can make it easy for themselves by using certain tools within the game. Example, near post corners, which I use, admittedly, but I'm not complaining that it's too easy. I'm not complaining. I celebrate every single near post goal that we score. It's the way that I enjoy the game. I'm sorry about that. But there are certain tools like that within the game, which obviously helps you get some results, which people will utilize, but then at the same time will say that it's a bit too easy. And I think that's where I start to become, that's where my disagreement comes with it. Because I think before making that claim, I think there's certain challenges you can set yourself. And it's not like crazy out there challenges like making the game impossible for you. But there are certain things within the game, just for that small things. For an example, don't just go out and buy the best scouts, because if you're talking about realism now, Arsenal are not just gonna go to their staff search on their laptop and just 2020 judging potential, judging ability, get you. Like, try and make it a bit real. Just only sign a scout that fits your purpose or whatever it is. Like those sort of things. And don't buy the same Wonder Kid, or don't buy Wonder Kid you know is going to develop because you've seen it in someone else's game, or you've seen it on the blog, or whatever it is. You've seen pictures. Don't then buy that player, Benjamin Sesko, and then be like, it's too easy because he scored 59 goals. That's because he's a very good striker in the game and he's going to develop. And if you're using a certain tactic as well, it's only just going to allow you to get certain results. And there are people, I've seen many people that avoid certain tactics, certain intense pressing tactics, and then they play the game and it's just fine. They go through the struggles and they're still in season 14 and haven't really won much and stuff like that. So it's not too easy. It's not too easy. It's not just like you're just picking things and then go and then you don't have to do much and win games. Like you kind of have to set out to win things in Football Manager, if that makes sense.
It makes complete sense. And I think what it is it comes down to, as you say there's things you can do in the game that will increase your chance of winning.
Yeah.
Okay. It can be something as simple as picking one of the best teams. That will increase your chance of winning. Yeah. if you pick the best teams and then you buy the best players. Let's take this as ultra simplistic as it needs to be, right? If you pick the best team and you buy the best players, or you buy the best wonder kids, and you pick a tactic that is seemingly suited to your team or to the game match engine, and you're looking for the meta, then yes, of course, your chance of winning is improved and increased. Yeah. You can make that a little bit more difficult by, say, for example, your Real Madrid.
Yeah.
You can make a tiny little tweak to that difficulty level and not buy anybody. Right?
Yeah.
That makes it a little bit more difficult because you might have one position possibly where you don't quite have the right player. You could have an injury. And then you go, right, well, I'm stuck, and now I'm going to bring in someone from the reserves rather than just splashing the cash.
Yeah.
You could change the setup of the save in the first place. Obviously, they've now brought these new game worlds in. So you've got the original database, which is sort of like what we've all known and loved over the years. Or there's the one where players are dropping in as they would have done in real life.
Yeah.
I like that one, actually. I didn't think I'd like it, but I quite like that. I was like, oh, that's pretty good. Especially when we started with Larissa, because I didn't know the team. So all I was doing was looking to see who's coming in. But I also make it a little bit more tricky for myself because I play with attribute masking on, because I think that I wouldn't know all these players.
Yeah.
So you can put those little, and they don't have to be huge.
That's they don't have to be
benchmarks in the way. Like, you don't have to go attributeless. Use like a data only skin to make the game difficult. You can make the game difficult by little things like getting rid of the player names. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's little bits like that. But or just going, you know what? I'm gonna go attributeless for a little bit. So data. Attributeless. I'm gonna go attribute masking, and all that means for those people that maybe don't know what attribute masking is, it just means that you don't see all the attributes of every player. So if you're looking for a striker and you're Real Madrid and your strikers in Switzerland, you might have to use those scouts that you're paying money for to go and scout him, because you won't know him.
Yeah. It's like you could sort of manage it as well. So in my current save as well on stream, we're Sparta Rotterdam, and we started this thing like, we're just gonna sign Mexican players, and that was sort of the challenge. Like when we were recruiting, we're just gonna sign like Mexican youth, and it was sort of like not build their nation, but try and like give them a little boost, like just keep signing players, develop them, whether they make it at our club or we sell them on, or even back to Mexico, whatever it is, just try and see them win or get far in the World Cup or something like that. But then like, after that season 2, season 3, and it was like, there's not really that many great Mexicans, are there? Like we're trying to improve, but we're like trying to stick with this plan. It's a bit difficult, and my goal again, it was never to make the save that difficult. So then I just broadened it, and then it was just like South Americans or whatever it is, and it was like, and then people just started coming in and chatting, like, yeah, sign this guy, sign that guy, and it was like, this is where my difficult thing. This is what I try to get to people, is like, I don't really just want to sign players off recommendation because you know you're good. Again, data is my thing. So again, like I'm literally using data. Even people saying, how do you find these wonder kids? It's like, obviously just watch the stream for one, but not in a snarky way, but because it's difficult for me to, like, even my streamers that watch me, it's like, they can't tell you one way that I do it, because one day I'm doing it this way, next day I'm doing it this way. But for example, like scouting the under-20 World Cup, and like we're just going through each metric, like the most dribblers, we just say like the top 5, scout them, top 5 young wonder kids, the top 5 players in the under-20 World Cup with the highest XG, scout them, key tackles, scout them, key headers, scout them. sort of thing. And then sure enough, you're just going to find a very great player. If you just keep doing that, if sure enough, you're going to find now that is sort of our way. Or we just go to player search and we do this thing where we're like, all right, maximum age 21. They've at least started 20 games. Their game win ratio has to be at least 50% as well. And just like we could just find key players, let's say at Sparta Prague. We found our captain now at Sparta Prague, because obviously Sparta Prague are a very good team. And it was like, who is the main influence in the Sparta Prague team? We just took their captain. He's now our captain. But there's certain things in the game that you can do to make easier. We've got 70 million transfer budget. We could easily spend that on I keep banging on, we need to improve, man, for Europe. And I could just easily go to the recruitment center and just buy great players with the 70 million. But it ruins the fact that we're using the youth system. It ruins the fact that we're buying lots of Dutch players and that sort of thing. So there are certain things in the game that you can definitely
there absolutely
make.
is. And I think
it makes the game more fun as well. So it's not even just more challenging, just more fun.
I think you've stumbled upon something that I'm currently doing as well, or at least trying to. And because of how we're doing the Build a Nation, I am trying to keep an air of realism about it, because I like realism with FM. And I know it's not real, because it's unlikely that, my team would be in Europe. It's unlikely that Blood Spartans are ever going to win the Champions League. Of course, it's not going to be realistic in that sense, but I do like the idea of trying to play it as close to realistic as I would do. For example, I started the save without, the top managerial qualifications, because I don't think that would be realistic. We're trying to buy players that I think would be realistically coming to Larissa. We chanced around with JKA. He was the one that we sort of like. Sometimes the club will roll the dice, won't they?
We've done that as well.
But we're now in the position where it's interesting to talk about data. We're looking, because of how, when we've bought players, and we knew that there was a year that we weren't in Europe that was going to really affect us on financial fair play, that we had to clear the deck, so players had to leave. So we then had to look and foresee that coming. So we were then recruiting by data, going, right, okay, all these players, are they giving us value for money? And I'm not using I've used the term Moneyball because it's a nice way for people to sort of drop in the stream and be like, oh, he's doing Moneyball.
It's just an easy way to put it.
It. But we've had spreadsheets, and you've seen it. Like, I've had spreadsheets on my screen going, okay, my defender for example, is currently doing this amount of interceptions, this amount of blocks, this amount of headers he's challenging for. He's winning this amount of headers. Right, okay, well, we're paying him this amount of money. Can we get someone who's doing more for less? And then we're now building this picture, because I've got 12 years worth of data. Like, I save my game every single end of season. I put it in the Discord for my subs for Twitch. Patreons get access to the save files, so you can go and you can pick up the save wherever you want to be. So, for example, I looked at Joe Bellingham, and I was like, he's only scored 1 goal this season, which is bizarre, because I thought he was involved in pretty much everything. And I looked back through his data from the previous season and compared it, and I was like, he's not playing as advanced as he was. He's playing more as a ball winner now. He's playing more defensive. So in my head, I'm going, right, okay, rather than replace Joe Bellingham, I'm going to replace someone in that position, but I'm going to move Joe back into a different role in the team. So I'm not just getting rid of someone, and I'm looking and going, well, can I afford to get, for example, a DLP? They're quite pricey, because you want these players to create stuff. When I'm going, well, all right, Job can do it higher on the pitch, but can he do it a little bit further back? And I've already got someone in who can play a little bit higher. So rather than going out and spending someone, just reshuffle the pack, see if that works. Or looking at a player who maybe going, he's worth 300 grand and he's performing way above everybody else in my team. Why am I going for the £3 million option when Johnny 300 grand is the guy? Like, it might be a one season wonder, but let's at least roll the dice, because you and I on stream, we're storytellers. We're telling stories. That's what would happen in real life. A club wouldn't always go for the £3 million option if there's a little cheeky 300 grander in there.
It's just like our striker. It's just funny. we've got this striker called Tobias Lauritsen, and he's like sort of a target forward. He's not really fast or anything, no dribble, all of that. And that's sort of the matter, right? Fast striker, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, which is using him about first season, and he's scoring a lot of headers and stuff. And I'm like, oh, this guy is a bit broken, sort of thing. But you know, like first season, like sort of thing, it might just be a first season thing. Second season comes, wait, this guy might be broken. Like, it's like, well, like, you know that thing that every time he scores, you look at his profile and you're like, I can't see, like, other than finishing, heading, and jumping reach, like, he's just got 13s and 12s, but his pace and agility is not even that great. Bearing in mind, we are playing three strikers and he's like in the middle. And this is funny because the left striker is a complete forward. The game tells you that you need all these attributes, but people are like, why are you playing him? He's like only one star. And it's like, because the game thinks that he needs to be tall and jumping reach and all that. I'm like, he doesn't need to be because he's technically my left winger, the striker, the poacher. The game doesn't tell you that he needs to have the high jumping reach or heading, but the way we play, he absolutely does. And Lauritsen is the prime example. So now going in the transfer window was like, we don't even have to look for cheap options. They just come because target forwards are not the most expensive players over like the fast and agile, great off the ball movement, pacey, which won't even work that well in our system, which is crazy anyway. So then we just went out and bought like a copy and paste version. We went to the Portuguese second league. We found a Bulgarian, my Bulgarian, if I keep calling him. His name's like Prislav Borokov. And then we played him and it was like, hold on a second, he's better than Lauritsen. No, we're not having that. We gave him 2 seasons. He outscored him in one. We're like, we're selling you. we're selling you. Yeah, because in Europe, again, it's like, for some reason, like even some teams can't handle that physicality. So it's like Forestov will just go 4 in one game sort of thing. But in the league, Lauritsen, 4 seasons running, top goal scorer 4 seasons. And no matter how much we try and shift him away and try and get like that shiny new toy that won the kid, we've got like 3 wonder kids on either side. Neither can perform like Lauritsen. So it's just like, we're kind of forced not to overspend. But again, it's that sort of thing. We could just buy these flashy players left, right, and center. Now we've got 70 million. We can just do it. But we're making the game more. I know I can probably progress in Europe with a 90 million pound striker over Lauritsen, who's cost like 8 million pound. But it doesn't. The story and the feeling whenever he scores and stuff, it's just amazing. It's like I don't want to lose that. Even now, I'm playing him like, oh, is he losing his magic? It's in the corner and Lauritsen.
You're talking my save right now, basically, because we know we need a striker. Like we know, like we missed out on the Champions League because we sold JK. Like there was gold, there was essentially the cost us. And I've spent all summer with my spreadsheets out, going like, we can get this striker, we can get that striker. Oh, I don't really think I should pay that kind of money for him.
Yeah,
he goes off to AEK, and I'm like, oh dear, like like fine, £3.5 million. Can we really afford that sort of stuff? And I'm into the season now, and I know that I've not got a new recognized top quality striker that I wanted all summer.
Yeah.
But I did buy someone who was 6'9", and that is just as good. So it was 6'9" from Sweden. He cost me 60 grand, and he is massive. So that works.
Man. That's the beauty of the game, man. That can be the beauty of the game. Obviously, some people are still chasing that advance forward, and it's just like, okay, let me just go and spend 60 million on this player that I know is going to bang goals and sort of thing. Like sometimes you could just take risks.
So let's think about this.
You like his name.
Let's think about this, okay? If we think the game's too easy, okay? Let's go with that argument for a second, right? If we think the game's too easy, let's look at how we can make it. Well, first of all, let's look at how it's too easy, right? What is it that is too easy? Okay,
I think so.
From that point, we'll then spend. Because I've written some lists down here as to areas that we can make the game more difficult by tweaking if we think the game's too easy.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. So if the game's too easy, then how is it too easy?
So I've seen one comment that I've seen is tactically. So they say whenever they make a tactic that makes sense, it works. Difficult to confirm that because obviously they're not showing their tactics, which is like one bare bug that on the forum sites. If you've got a complaint, just send in screenshots so people can see it. Don't just say things because it just comes across like you're moaning. Like you might actually have a point, so to show us sort of thing. But yeah, that's one of the things. In my head, I believe what it actually is that they're experienced at the game, so they know the roles and behaviors.
Yes.
So it just naturally, without maybe them knowing, they're just doing certain things, and it's just because it makes sense to them. But it makes sense to them because what they've learned in Football Manager, and what they've learned in Football Manager now is working really well. If that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, perfect example. My kids were struggling on Super Mario today. Like, I've not played the new Super Mario, but I got on the game and I did what I had to do in that level. Why? Because I grew up on Super Mario. Like, because I grew up on Super Mario. I've got 40 years of Mario experience in my blood.
I did what I had to do.
I did what I had to do. Well, not quite 40 years, but do you know what I mean? Like, so for them, they're looking going, God, like either daddy knows his shit, right? Or I'm like going, well, yeah, because it's all here. Like I've done it before. You come onto FM, if you've been playing it all your life, there's a chance that something has gone in that you just know what you need to do, right?
Yeah.
Or if you watch football, you know roughly what to do, or you know roughly what players to sign. So you're right. When people say, I've got this tactic, I've made this tactic. Have you made this tactic? Or have you, right? But that's the question. Have you made the tactic? You can just use the presets, and the presets are there, and the presets are good. The presets.
That's what I mean. Like in my head, there's just unless you're picking Man City, and I don't even know if it's guaranteed with Man City. I haven't really tested it myself, but I think the presets are good. They are what make sense over than what someone could be saying makes sense. In Football Manager, I think if you're Brentford and you just lock and load a tiki-taka, the game is not too easy. And I'm being real. There's absolutely no way you load the preset without you tweaking something. You just put the Brentford players in. The tactic makes sense. You go into a game and you're just walking over teams. Like that in Football Manager, in my opinion, is impossible. Now, when you start adding the higher tempo and then you're passing it into space, you've already got the high pressing. Now you're adding double advanced forwards. Because to you, it makes sense. Because that's what you've learned. So to you, it makes sense. You want two strikers to score. So you're just like, well, you don't think that a DLF is going to score. Yeah, like in your head, you're like, I want two goal scorers. And you automatically skip DLF. You automatically skip complete forward. You automatically skip false nine. My false nine has scored flipping 17 goals. But that's because it's in a system that I know well. But it's people are just going to use double advanced forward because they know that's just two constant attackers running into the channels. You're hitting passes into space. Like, after a while, the AI is going to give in. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're pumping 100 through balls a game. Like, a few of them is going to go through, sort of thing. Yeah. Maybe I've exaggerated a little bit, but you get like where I'm going with it. Like, people just say,
I do get that because I see tactics, and it's a bugbear of mine, but it's a personal bugbear, right? So again, like I'm not gonna go at anybody about it.
Yeah.
But I see tactics that have everyone's got double positions. Like
someone said that to me today, and I'm just like,
nobody does that in the real world. There's no formation or tactic in any level of football, even at school kid level, right? Where both fullbacks are fullbacks, or let's say on support, right? Both centre backs are ball playing defenders. No, they're not, right?
I was literally going to say as well, like
a box. It's not.
I was literally going to say that the fullbacks are probably the closest you would get, but even then, in football, you're not going to have two forward. Like you're going to have. It's going to be instructed. Yeah, I was literally going to say it'll be instructed where like it'll be shared role. Like one will be on attack for a moment, while the other's on support, rather than both. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like someone said that to me today. Is like, why don't you just use? Because we started getting like not a rough patch, but we weren't creating enough. And someone's like, why don't you just use a double Seconda Volante? And it's just like, I'm trying to avoid that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know, like, it might possibly push the bit, but I'm just trying to avoid that. Like, I like my system. I want my system to win.
Very quick one while the show's on. I want to talk a little bit about Patreon, because some of you might be thinking, why do we sign up for Patreon? Should we sign up for Patreon? Well, I'll tell you what, how's about this, right? If you consider signing up for Patreon, there's tiers between £3, £5 and £10 a month. You will get early access to all these public episodes. They're normally out on a Thursday. You get them at 8 o'clock on a Wednesday morning, so that's over 24 hours in advance. You also get an extra bonus episode every single Monday that is exclusive to Patreon. It won't be seen anywhere else. And it'll be with myself, maybe like an FM creator. It could be a musician, a footballer, a journalist. It could be anybody. We've done some special shows in there as well. We've done started doing a watch along with Second Yellow Card as we watched Goal 3. Spoiler alert, it's dreadful. That's on there. There's the Insomnia Gaming Festival show. That's on there. There's the Christmas special show, which has got Dupe and Breezy and RDF and myself going through some Football Manager legends. We've got other watch-alongs planned as well. We've got some special ideas. And of course, as part of Patreon, you can suggest those ideas as well. And if they're good, we might start making them. So you got that. Plus, of course, you can send us your tactics for the Tactics Garage. And there's even a tier, which means that we will help save your save. So if you're really struggling and you need a little bit of TJ, or probably more likely RDF Tactics love, and making sure your save works perfectly, then get signed up to Patreon, patreon.com/the FM Show Pod. And of course, if you have already signed up, we appreciate your support so much. It means the world to us, and it really helps get the show growing, and it means we can do some cool things. So thank you very much. If you can afford to support, patreon.com/the FM Show Pod. Back to the show.
Oh man.
Yeah, I've tweaked my tactic. Actually, it's a good time to mention this. I should say I've tweaked my tactic from 4-3-3. I went counter attack at one point because I had to just reset and go again. So I went counter attack 4-3-3. This season we've got no wide players, just not good enough. So I got rid of them, but I had loads of players who could play in the middle of the pitch. So I've gone Brazilian box. I've gone 4-2-2-2.
Yes,
I've got to try and count that out.
that is my worst formation to say out loud, man.
And instead of doing, and I've seen it done, and I've seen it done as, I've got wing back on attack, defender on cover, defender on support. Defender on defend, wing back on support, anchor, segundo volante, attacking midfielder on attack, enganche, poacher, advance forward. And I could have double rolled that all through the middle. The game would have just went, I don't know where these players are going to go. And we could be winning every single match. But I'm like, you know what's better is sucking AEK out of their box and hitting them and winning at the 85th minute.
I think that's what
I'd prefer.
I think that's what the game is. I think that's what it's about as well. Sometimes is like how the game reacts to it. Like you using double roll. So for example, advanced forward, and it's not necessarily like your two advanced forward are going to do the exact same things at the exact same times. But it's just like the game is mindful that you're using two advanced forward. It's just like trying to defend that already in itself is
it's pushing its defenders back, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's just like like what you said there, using sometimes double roles, it does feel a bit like the AI just like, hey, hold on, what's going on there? Like, hey, hold on, what's going on here?
Yeah.
It's rare because you rarely see the AI using double roles as well. Like, you might see AM using DM, but I'm pretty sure if you could see a tactic, one will be on defender, one will be on support sort of thing, yeah. And even ball playing defenders, like if you're going to use two, make one a stopper, make one a cover. Something like, you know what I mean? Rather than just complete double roll.
I do tweak, and even then, I'm not sticking as that as my rigid, because when Job comes back in, he's a regista. I figured he might work as a regista, so I went, he could play a regista. So rather than a volante, I twist him out again. So things like that, the system isn't set in stone. Like So you could, for example, take out the obvious formations and go, right, start building something very, very different. That's a way of adding an air of sort of a difficulty setting to the game.
Build something for you, like something new. Like for me, I'm using this 4-3-3 thing where it's like 4-2-3-1. Whereas like it's a flat back for 2 defensive midfielders, attacking midfielders, but then 3 narrow strikers, and we're using a complete forward, a poacher, and a false nine. So like the 2 wide wingers, the 2 wide players are like they're still very supportive, especially the false nine, the complete forward on support. So it's not like overloading with strikers attacking. Like 2 of them are actually dropping deep off the attack line to link up play. And it's like someone just like, oh yeah, you changing the system. I'm like, this is my system. Like it's just sort of ingrained in me. Now it's ingrained in this team, and I think that's again sort of the story. Oh, sorry. But I saw the story and that we did the Sparta Rotterdam, and we had the 4-3, whatever it is, with Sparta Rotterdam. That was the tactic sort of thing, yeah. And it's a challenge as well because it has its obvious flaws down the flank. Like once teams, it's funny because we can see it every single time. A team will play out from the back. We're like trying to press. The moment they spread it to the fullback, it's just like they've got a big area of space just to attack. And that is literally how we get broken down a lot. And it's like people are trying to fix it. Like it's the flaw of the tactics. It's the flaw of the formation. We've just got to live with it. The only way that's gonna be better is by developing and getting better players. Literally.
What I did to avoid that, and I know we're going slightly off on a tangent here, because I realised that again, similar. We've got if the ball's in the flanks, we've only got our wing backs. So what we did in pre-season was we made a narrow pitch. we resized the pitch as well. I was I'm not giving you all this space to run into. Don't be silly.
And I was trying new things as well. I was just like, I started trying to find a system where it's like, actually, it's okay for you to like. It got to a point like, shall we make it a plan where we actually allow them to have the thing, but then now we have to close off everything, so they can't do nothing after that. But then that was a bit, that was a challenge. That was a task that went wrong.
So then you could technically create a save where you make no tweaks at all. That makes it more tricky, doesn't it? Because if you're not tweaking,
that's it. You're sacked, man.
No, 100%, you're sacked. So, but the argument would be if the game's too easy, you should just be able to just do that and not touch it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that is the argument there and then. You could go director of football. You could be as a director of football, only do the signings, leave the match to somebody else. That'll work out whether the game's too easy or not. Because the AI will be playing it for you. You're not touching anything.
Yeah. There's definitely ways to make the game more challenging, even still in the way that you want to play the game. You don't have to do much. You just have to put some restrictions on some of the things that you normally would do, especially like the staff and stuff. Like people just go and just buy whatever stuff. They just search by the attributes and just pick up the best ones with the best mentalities and the best personalities and that sort of thing. Well, that's just like that's very easy, but you're doing that while the AI can't. Well, the AI can, but they don't. You're doing that, but the AI don't. Do you know what I mean? So you're just getting an advantage.
Yeah, and again, this is how I play it, and I've always done it this way since the game allows me to do it.
Yeah,
is I always put staff adverts out, like job adverts out.
Yeah,
so I don't use the staff search when I'm buying players. I don't search by attributes. I'll use attributes as a bit of, I think I've talked about this before, actually.
Yeah.
I'll use attributes as a bit of a sort of like an eyeball test.
Yeah.
But I still want to scout the players and work out what the scouts reckon and what the coaches reckon. And when I'm in non-league, I'll get them in for trial because I don't see any attributes at all. So I get them in trial.
What's crazy
have a nosy about them.
It's crazy because I remember before when I played the save with attribute masking off. So you could see all the attributes. And I remember being people like, why do you do that? I'm like, and then someone was like, oh yeah, that's just, that's easy mode. I'm like, I literally play the game the exact same way. I don't search by attributes. I'm literally still looking at the data. I still have to scout you to find your personality and all of that sort of, like, I literally still, or maybe your personality I can still see, but I still have to scout you. Like, it's just my thing of how I play the game and how I see football rather than just saying, oh, your attributes are good, putting the offer. Like, I still have to scout you. And then doing it with the attribute masking off, which I do now all the time because I just do it because of the viewers and people see I still find these wonder kids. I could just still find them within like 2 minutes or whatever because, again, that's more through experience of playing the game. I just know where to go, but it doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't make the game more easy or more difficult. But that's, again, down to me. Now, if I want to make the game more difficult again, I've done that before where I've removed all the attributes or whatever. And then even that, I got to about season 3 where I was like, the game's more challenging. It's less fun for me, in my opinion. Because it was fun at the start, because it was the new thing, but then it gets to a point where I'm watching everyone else and their saves and they're doing all of these things. I'm like, I just want to scout like a normal person.
At that point,
I just want to scout like a normal person.
We should say as well that's a great point though. It's not everything we're saying here is not designed to make the game not fun. Obviously, you need to play the game however you want to play it. We're just saying that if you are finding it too easy, there are ways of making it a little bit more challenging for you, that you don't have to do a great deal to make it more challenging. Like one thing that I've noticed during our Greece save is having people in the chat banging on about get an affiliate club, and I'm like, right, why? And like, you get kids on loan from like this club, and you'll get like loads of money if it's you're in Asia or something. I'm like, okay, so we're using it to gamify the game. That's what
exactly your game, like, and that's what I'm saying. You're not getting like a Red Bull. Oh, they're another Red Bull club. Let's affiliate. Let's try. And that's different. But now what you're doing is just game, and you're just like, that's an easy way to get the best younger player on loan.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Someone that probably wouldn't come anyway. I'm getting a player for free. I'm not having to pay for him, and I'm getting a little bit of cash in my pocket as well for being part of the link up. Like, okay, I don't really know what the other club gets from this. A player that's going to go out on loan for a little bit, possibly, but I don't know. You know, maybe that's the thing. You could sort of like say that's gamifying the game ever so slightly. You could. Again, we've looked at sort of restricting what you do. Restricted stuff is always going to sit unfairly with people in it, because it's like, well, I shouldn't have to take things out in order to enjoy the game, which I completely get. You don't buy.
I do to a point though.
You don't buy a game and go, you know what? Like for example, you wouldn't buy, I guess, GTA or whatever, and go, right, yeah, okay. You know what? I'm going to play it, but I'm not going to use any weapons. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm not going to use cars.
Yeah.
You can.
I get that. Yeah.
Not. Like, but I suppose it depends upon how you want to play the game, because we're in the process of telling stories. We're in the process of telling long-term stories. If you've got people who sat there with a game that they're going to play on their laptop and they're going to play 3 seasons, they're not massively fussed about taking attributes away or
exactly,
or looking at pressing traps and all that sort of. They're just going to go, like, I haven't got much time in my life to devote to Football Manager. The time I have got, I want to spend it trying to win, because I'm guessing if you asked most people what is the overriding emotion you want out of Football Manager, it's success, because people want success. And whether it's success with a team that isn't having success in real life, and they therefore want to go on and be the person that takes that club to glory, that's success, or a person who wants to just go out and be successful and win stuff. That's the point of the game. I'm the idiot who doesn't want that. Like, I'm the idiot who wants to make.
And that's the thing. That's a good thing about this podcast as well. And it's like we have to pull it down. Like, I'm gonna pull it out. That when Tony's saying like gamifying, and when I'm saying gamifying, it's not to like, we're not making
it to belittle.
It's not to belittle. Like when Tony says like gamifying, like using affiliate clubs. If you go into my stream, I'm using affiliate clubs every chance I get. You know what I mean? And when we're talking about the staffing, he uses job adverts. I quite literally search by staff because I want my Wonder Kids to develop. So I need these cultures, whatever. But that's just my idea of fun.
I mean, it's been great. Like, so I play the game very differently to most people who watch. Probably most people who listen to this podcast, to be honest, because the way that I do these games. So I set up these long-term challenges. Like last year was British Steel, which was win everything in England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. I had people in my Discord and in the FM show Discord, link in the description, by the way, telling us that they'd completed the British Steel. And I'm like, oh, brilliant. I've won 10 trophies out of 30. But you know what? I'm doing it on stream and I'm imposing more rules on who I can and can't manage. I'm doing it differently.
You've got a story. You've got more of a memory of it as well.
Yeah, like
yeah.
And even with Build a Nation, again, I've got people saying, I've won the Champions League with Larissa. And I'm like, great, I'm in the Euro League. Like,
Yeah.
But again, I'm doing it differently. You're doing it differently. That's the joy of this game, that everybody plays the game in a different way and get a different outcome.
There's a guy that he's actually just going to get a random shout out who definitely was not expecting this, but there's a streamer called Coach Zanko. I can't actually remember what nationality he's from.
Slovakian, I think.
I had Slovakia or Slovenia, man. I didn't want to say it just in case. He's doing a save in Portugal where he took like some low-ranked team, so they're in a low tier, and he's doing youth only. So he's doing that save where he can't buy players, and he's trying to win things. And he's just done like, I don't know what season he's in. He's just won the league for the first time, the Portuguese top tier. I felt like shedding a tear for him, but it's just like, it was like, I don't understand how people just, to resist the temptation for over a decade in the game to not sign a player. You can only use the players that come through your youth system. That is an absolute mental challenge. But he did it, and there's no way someone like him is going to turn around and say the game's too easy. Like, it took him a long time, and that took him as well a lot of effort. I mean, he's probably had sleepless nights. He's probably went in bed so many times thinking about a save, a result, or whatever. But now he's completed that, or he's done one that he's got that first step of winning a trophy. He's got to remember that literally he's going to remember that for the years to come. Now he could have done that, doing so many things, just gamifying the game, and then because it's happened just like that, like a lot of my saves, because it just happens just like that, it's kind of just gone. It's just gone, and then that's it, sort of thing. But because he's done it his way, so adamantly done it his way, it's actually a crazy story as well. It's actually crazy.
It hits harder, doesn't it, when you've properly grafted for it?
Yeah.
I know Lama was on the episode a few weeks ago talking about these youth only saves.
Yeah.
And how he's like, it's just so like disgusting. It's just morale sapping. Because you know yourself, right? You mentioned there, like Zanko's doing this, okay? He's got his youth only save going on. Everybody listening to this podcast knows at the end of season 1, or even in the transfer window, his scouts are going to go, hey, you see this guy? And you're going to be sat going, I do need this player. I need this player. But the temptation.
Yeah.
Like,
you could be there for 7 years just waiting for a striker. Just waiting for one.
Just watching so many great ones go.
Just waiting for one. And that's the thing, like, he must have so many close shaves that he almost done something. But because if he had this player, if he had that player, he would have done it. He must have had so many of those moments. So many ifs, buts, and maybes. Like on again,
looking at my experience in Greece, it's taken us 12 years to get a 15-year-old goalkeeper who might make the first team.
That's crazy because we got one in our first
team. Yeah,
and that was.
But I've got 2 players. It's taken me 10 to 12 years to get 2 players that might be good enough for the first team, and they're 15 now, so they're not good enough right now. Zanko's like, hats off to Zanko for doing that. By the way, also as well, shout out to next week's episode with Mad FM. From the 5-Star Potential podcast. So again, shout out to our friends over at 5-Star Potential, who takes that one step further, and instead of just doing youth only, says, hey, I've got an idea. How's about I only buy players from the local area, from the team that I'm managing? Again, Lama touched upon that a little bit with his youth only save in a specific area of Sweden, but
we did something similar. So we done something similar with our community challenge with Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah. You didn't do something similar. Everyone else did something very similar. You just. We only bought players from Kingston upon Hull. You bought players from Kingston upon Thames and Kingston, Jamaica. We tried to just keep it based in Sheffield.
People be actually like, that's in Sheffield.
Yeah,
like, that's what the game said.
Leon Bailey's available. Wait, is he from Sheffield? No, he's not. No, he might have a copy of the Arctic Monkeys album, but he's not from Sheffield.
Oh man,
he's passed through Sheffield once.
Ooh.
You very much went with the Jack Charlton Republic of Ireland sort of like. Has he had a pint of Guinness before? Yeah, he's Irish enough. That'll do. Good.
Oh man, I forgot about that as well.
Yeah, but that Legionnaire style of save again is so difficult because not all towns and cities generate players as regularly. So if you're in a less metropolitan area, you're not going to get as many players coming through.
Guys, man, I'm actually thinking about that saving. I'm actually thinking it's nice, but I will definitely do my research to find the best areas for it. So I know I'll just pick a random one. I'm like, why is no one coming from here? It's like population 0.
Someone in my chat over the other day was suggesting that for next year's save I should do build a nation Wearside and just it's Sunderland, but only from players with the local area. And I'm like, I can't go back to Sunderland again. I've got to go somewhere different.
Heartbreak. Usually asking for heartbreak.
But that's how I'm making the game more difficult as well, is by going and managing in these leagues that I've never been before. Now,
but also keeping the fun.
I know it's scary going into Greece when you've never managed in Greece before. You don't know the players, you don't know the teams, you don't even know the league structure. But it's really rewarding when you get through, and because it's so unfamiliar, and because I've not got the temptation of just leaving and going back to England or Italy or Germany. Like I'm stuck in Greece, and if we get sacked from Greece, I'm staying in Greece. I've got to find someone else. Shout out again. This is the shout out episode, by the way. Shout out to Simaggio, who's doing Build a Nation Belgium, but has been sacked. And he's now considering jumping ship to go to Spurs. That's not Build a Nation Belgium, is it?
Whoa. What happened there?
So there's a man who's tried to make the game more difficult for himself, doesn't feel as though he's achieved what he's needed to achieve, and then went, £100 million? Yeah, okay, we'll just go and do this.
Yeah, so I've had that as well. Even in Sparta Rotterdam, where there's no real aim in the save, but we saw like, first it was Inter, like season 3, and it's like, it's tempting, but it's too early. Season 4, Inter again coming, it's tempting, but we haven't done anything here yet. And then by a minute, comments like, no, you're taking the piss. Now stop it, please. Because now I'm thinking.
we had it in the Greece save because I'm Greece national manager now as well. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I'm Greece national manager, and I've been recently offered the France job to replace Zinedine Zidane, and the Italy job. Now, both jobs that I would take in an absolute heartbeat in real life, but they're not going to help me build Greece as a nation, are they? You know what looks better for Greece is if I've won a World Cup somewhere else. So that's
that
doesn't help.
Oh man, I hope those offers still come in though.
Oh mate,
yeah.
Okay, so we've gone through things that you can look at. So affiliate clubs, we think, again, we're not saying don't do these sorts of things. You could look at different databases, I suppose, as well. You could look at that real world database that we talked about at the start when you set your game up. You could, and again, this is something that I do, and I know we're talking about another restriction, but I always disable the first transfer window.
I knew it, I knew that was coming. Yeah, I knew that one. I knew that one. Yeah, there's that as well. I use it, and then I don't use it. I'm not really too fussed with it. I'm a bit sometime-ish with that. I don't have, like, any real opinion on whether to use it or not. I think maybe I'm a bit smart with it. I tick it when I'm a team that doesn't need transfers. So I'm like, I can use this restriction.
For me, like another element of realism. So because of the way that the game set up now is that the players will drop in as they do in real life.
Yeah.
With the build realism save, I was like, right, let's just, we're all going to get this at the same time. So no one's making any additional transfers other than what's already programmed. Came back and bit me in the arse, of course, because both of my goalkeepers were injured, and I didn't have a first team goalkeeper when the season started. So that's on me, right? But them's the risks you got to take, right?
Yeah. But it is that sort of realism thing as well. And I remember telling people that I kind of warn them, like, sometimes when you take over a team, especially Chelsea now, like, you might want to send like half the team on a language course. You might have to be careful in the first game of the season, make sure you're not giving out 11 players their debuts and that sort of thing. Like, but you don't really notice that because they weren't your signings.
Yeah.
And this has been like a sort of warning sign that I've been saying in FM for a couple of years now as well. Is that remember that when you take over a team, there's already new signings. So make them or blend them in first, then you can make your signings, or just be mindful. Whenever you do make signings, just be mindful that on the first game of the season, how many people are actually making their debuts.
Well, there's another thing to think about as well then, and it sounds so obvious. It's who you manage, right? Now, I'm not going to say who you manage as in, oh, you've taken Real Madrid, you've taken Liverpool, you've taken Man City. That's going to be really easy. What I'm going to say is think about who you're managing in relation to your manager profile. Okay, so for example, if you take over Man City, right? Pep Guardiola, quite popular, quite good on the game. If you go in with your Sunday League managerial career and your no qualifications, you might, and I'm maybe theorizing a little bit here, some of the players might not necessarily respect you the day you walk in because they're like, who's this guy? Like,
I think
where have you just come from? Like, I'm not saying it's going to make it ridiculously difficult, but there must be something there that makes it
there is an effect. Now, before in FM23, I don't know if you noticed this. So when you take over a club or each year or each season starts, you have to have this little team meeting where you're talking about before you had to say that what your target is. Now you could just go in and pop out.
Yeah.
I know before there was like an effect where if you said like a certain thing, the players could turn around like,
said the wrong thing. I always said the wrong thing.
Like, who are you sort of thing, Now I'm scared of that. I'm PTSD, some trauma, real trauma there. I literally just go in and hop out. So I'm happy Football Manager added that.
Okay.
The ability to do that.
There's something interesting then. If you're scared of the team meetings, because a lot of people, again, will just delegate this sort of stuff. I'm not doing team meetings. I'm not doing press. Do them all.
Yeah.
Because it might have an effect. Not saying it does or doesn't, but it might. You can also...
Your badges and stuff and your mental ability, that definitely has an effect. Especially like, again, because I'm gamey, I started the season, my career looking good. So when certain players now are moaning, I want to leave or whatever, I should say, calm down, mate. Or whatever it is, the gamey button where I can just get them to calm down a little bit and move on. Now, if I chose all the lowest badges and stuff, it's less likely they're going to accept me saying, like, end of the season or whatever it is. They're going to be like, no, I want it now or whatever it is. So that's what
that respect level
of discipline, that level of discipline attribute. Motivating affects your team talks as well. So obviously, if you've got a high motivation, what you say to your players can have a greater effect quicker because obviously you're already that world class, so your players are listening to you. But if your motivation is low and you're trying to go into these team talks and demand things, I think we spoke about this before as well. If you're trying to demand things, it might not pop off and you might not get the reaction as you would with a high motivation attribute. So those attributes at the start do actually have an effect. How big the effect is, I'm not going to swear by it. I don't know, but it does have an effect on it, though.
There's some effect.
It has to. There's a reason why I use it, especially the ones, the moaning thing. Like, I learned that through tactic testing. So obviously, because I'm not really playing the game, I'm just skipping through it. So those messages that, hey, I'm not playing, can annoy me a little bit. So I'm just going to be very gamey and just put everything on 20. So for one, it happens less. And for two, when I respond to it, they're likely to chill out a little bit. Of course, there's going to be some players that are just absolutely not having it because they're under the hood, the under hood attribute, like ambition, might be just that high. So if their ambition's on 20, for an example, regardless of what you say, they want to play first team football because that's the sort of person they are. But yeah, it has an effect. It has an effect.
That will be why I get sacked in these tests then, because I just have my old set of default. Right? That's the thing. I don't change it. I go in whenever I start a save, whether it's my long-term save for the season or whether it's a little community challenge or a tactic test, whatever. I go on as the default setting. I'll make myself a motivator because I think that's probably what I would be realistic. I am a motivator and that's it. I'm not a tactician. I'm not a tactician. I'm not anything else, right? But I'll just have like the sort of the standard attributes. I'm not changing those because I don't think I've got anything else there. So in my head, I'm already thinking I'm playing the game at a different level to somebody else anyway, because I, as a manager, don't have the respect of an elite level player because I'm going in as Johnny Who's he, like, you know what I mean? Like, which is fine when I'm in the non-leagues because they're just sort of like, well, does he work here? He might work here. Like, you know, like
Yeah,
he's got a suit. I guess he's in charge. Right? That's where I want to be. And I think that those sorts of things, they do help the difference of the levels within the game. My other point with regards to taking over a team is twofold. Either don't take a team who's already got a manager, so only go for a team that doesn't have a manager. So then you are going in brand new, fresh. It's a slightly different challenge. You say there's players already there. Or start unemployed. Apply for a job. And then you're sort of being taken wherever the game wants you to go. So you're not going in with an idea of, right, I'm gonna be Ipswich. Yeah. Well, Ipswich have already got a manager who's doing quite well. So if you get into the game, load up the game and go, right, I'm not going to take any of those jobs that are already taken. Well, whose job's available? Oh, actually, that's an interesting one. Right. And you'll go, and it might not be the league that you want it to be in. You might end up going a little bit further down. You might strike lucky and hit that level or a level above. But not capping the save is a really interesting way of doing it, I think. And you're not, because you then got to go into a team that you might not know everything about.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And obviously, more than likely, you're walking into a challenge. If a job becomes available, it's exactly because they sacked their manager.
No club has ever got a manager gone because something's gone well. Is it? You know what I mean? Like,
so yeah, that is a point.
So there is that. So it's like, right, think about those sorts of things. And data, I love the data thing. I think that's a really, really cool way of trying to do it. Like, not just taking those numbers that are on screen, trying to look inside of it. And this is where the fun element comes back again, Aaron, in it. Like, we can say, oh, you know what you should do? You should try and work out progressive passes and open play, key assists. And some people go, no, I just want to look at the base number, games played, goals, assists, average rating. That's what I want. And that's totally fine. But if you want to look beneath that 7.08 might not tell you the full story.
Yeah.
You might see a player who's also got a 7.08 who's doing a hell of a lot more than your player's doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that the average rating thing is a bit, I don't want to say flawed, because they never once said that you should be listening to this and swear by it. So, but I do think it's a bit flawed, a little bit, and it doesn't tell the story. It doesn't tell the full story. Even though I still do it because I use it like sometimes as a reference. So if I'm scouting, sometimes it's just like, let me just filter it by average rating, and then you could just sort of just work your way down the list a little bit. But it doesn't tell the full story. You probably can look in your own team. You are going into the game just seeing your own players, but you could probably go into your team and be like, nah, this guy's definitely performed better in my eyes than this guy, but the game has given that other guy a higher rating. So, yeah, the average rating game is a bit of a techie one, as the kids would say.
Very quickly, while the show's on, have you remembered, if this is YouTube, to hit like on the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and leave us a nice little comment as well, because that really helps everything out. Makes the algorithm pick us up, puts us in front of more eyes. That'll be great. Gives us a bit of conversation to go with as well. Obviously, if you're on Spotify, just subscribe on Spotify, leave us a little review, leave some comments on that as well, and join the Discord. Come and get in the Discord. Come and have some conversation. That's where it all happens. There's loads of people having some great stuff in there. We can talk tactics, we can talk game modes, we can talk player searches, we can talk real football, we can talk anything over in the Discord. So all those links in the description below. Basically, it helps us. It really helps us get the show in front of the most eyes possible. So if you can do all those things, that would be awesome. It'd be much appreciated. But yeah, back to the show. It is. And I know there's some stuff that you've got to go digging for, and it's like not necessarily straight in front of you. So there again, there's a sort of thing of, well, why should I have to go looking for all this information? Like, I understand that, and we're not saying that you 100% have to do it, but we're saying that there's other ways that you can have a little nosy about. We've had some answers as part of our Discord, where people, again, because I asked the question about this, I was like, right, I said, there's a couple of questions I asked. One was, is FM24 dead? Which I think is another episode of the podcast. And then the second one was, is FM too easy? And as we expected, we got one or two answers from people who may or may not have a viewpoint on it. Fraser Lloyd has said here, saying, I don't think the game has got easier. He says there's more content and more conversation about the game. That's true. With more available resources to help players. So naturally, we are a bit more informed now, I suppose, than we were maybe 10, 15 years ago. Also, surely the difficulty is dependent on the save you pick. Also, any creator claiming it's got easier can't be the sharpest, in my opinion. So that's their views, not mine. If you literally do nothing other than he does quantify it though by saying if you do nothing other than play FM, then of course you're gonna get better with it. It's just the nature of doing something repetitively. So I get that.
I should have stated maybe earlier. I think there's something about this specific Football Manager. I think it must be because it's sort of a claim that I'm seeing more recently than before. So I'm thinking it's more of a FM24 case, which again, it's not something that I agree with anyway.
I think a lot of people thought that FM23 was hard because it did its own thing, and I loved it because of that. Because I was like,
that's the thing, though.
Everyone says it's easy. One game goes and does it different. And go, it's too hard now. Like, pick your battles, you know. We got Lord Blades here has said again with regards to FM23. When I started FM23, it felt hard coming in as a new player. Oh, imagine that. You're a brand new player, and FM23 was your debut FM. That's like a baptism of fire. Many things felt daunting, even when doing research online. When I started FM24, however, with the FM23 experience, stuff felt very easy. So again, comparison to FM23. Unlike FM23, I don't think I've struggled on a save. I've even abandoned a save because it felt way easier than expected. Villa, Premier League champions and Champions League finalists in the second season. He's in your save, Aaron.
Literally, Aston Villa as well. That is absolute mental. But unlike FM25, I don't think I've struggled. I don't know, man. Obviously, it's people's personal experience in it, and that's what I meant. That's what I was saying earlier. That I think it's something specific about this FM24. I think I'm starting to see this claim.
Does it depend on your perspective of what success and easy is? Because we said this a few weeks back, and you touched upon it a little bit already this episode by saying if you plug a tiki-taka system into Brentford, you're not going to instantly be Champions League.
Yeah.
Now, do we look at overachievement? So, and I'm not backing any data up here, by the way, on this. Is the game easier in the sense that less people are being sacked? Are less people being relegated? Are more people winning trophies? From what I've read and seen, I think the sackometer is still pretty high. So you would argue that the game's not as easy as it is. Although, having said that, I'm now two versions of the game where I've not been sacked, so maybe the game is getting easier. I'm going back on my point here.
But that's the thing, though, isn't it? Because you're seeing other people saying literally the opposite. And that's the thing, like, people are having the opposite experience sort of thing. Whereas I can turn around and I could be like similar. I can turn around and say, well, no one's seen me win the Champions League on stream yet on FM24, but FM23, I told you how we done it with Everton in the second season. So like it's the sort of like, maybe based on that save, you could have had, I don't want to say luck, and now trying to defend Football Manager a little bit back. Yeah, maybe you just had luck that time. But it's that sort of thing that maybe I just had the luck in that save last time to do it with Everton in the second season. But then when you're watching me in the Champions League this year, I'm getting highly frustrated. I mean, I complain that it's too hard, the Champions League. And in the moment I stopped raging and come off stream, I'm like, that's sort of the whole point of the Champions League, ain't it? Like, what?
Like, what? And this, you know what? This goes all the way back to Football Manager Therapy with Matt Richards, when he and I spoke about how many years has it been since you've won the Champions League?
Yeah.
And I feel like the Champions League should still be an achievement. Like, I don't think we should be winning the Champions League every year.
Yeah, I know.
Because it should be more difficult. Like I'm again without still constantly talking about Greece. Like, I don't expect Larissa to win the Champions League anytime soon. I don't expect Larissa to win the Greek league anytime soon. I'm going to overtake AEK and Olympiacos, who are spending a heck of a lot more money than I am. And I'm on a pittance trying to do bloody Moneyball. Like, come on.
I wonder sometimes as well if FM can work backwards. I wonder if you can achieve some great things so early that it starts to become difficult to follow that up. And then maybe that's where as well some people might just have frustration with it, say like, and just quit it. So what I'm trying to get at, like, for example, winning the Champions League with Everton, like, what happens if I don't then win it in the next 2-3 years?
Yeah, then what?
Do you know what I mean? Then what? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That is that, have I peaked? And then I think that then maybe people might disconnect with a save then, but that could be like, that happens in real life sort of thing. Like, you might have a team that's like a Porto and then just not going to win it for how many more years after that. Yeah. But then, do you know what I mean?
I suppose
that could be a thing. Like, it could be a thing. If you're telling me that you've won it back to back or you've won it 3 times in a row, then I'm like, okay. If you've won it once, and that's it.
Look at Leicester. Leicester won the title,
championship,
the Premier League title.
But and another reason why I bring that up is because like I won the league with Sparta Rotterdam, and now like my expectation is win the league, win the league, win the league, win the league sort of thing. And then you notice my mood starts to get a bit jittery when we start drawing games and other teams are getting close, and then you can quite see me starting to get a bit jittery and okay, I need to focus now. I need to start winning games again, and then I'm just tweaking the hell out. But I know the game a little bit, so I don't have to trial and error my tweaks. I can sort of just make a tweak, and then if that's not working, I can just try and force another tweak. Whereas a trial and error, if you don't know the game as well as I do, not that I'm big-headed or anything, but you might not be able to recover and get back on track as quick as possible. And whereas I've won a back-to-back Eredivisie, you might not be able to do that in your game because you might not be able to get your team back on form quick enough.
Oh, mate, like I am loving the fact that I can get my team to grind results out. Like I'm not here.
Oh, no, yeah. It gets to that point where like, we have to just start grinding. Like Arsenal today, it got to a point where it's like, I don't care about the fantasy football. Yeah. I don't care. We just need to defend in our 4-4-2, be compact, nick a goal from a corner or penalty, whatever it is, and then just win, bring back the result. That's all that matters.
Because isn't that also part of it as well? Like we could make a tactic, because I think we've probably got players that could make a tactic of a high intensity pressing game. We could play 4-2-3-1. We could play 4-3-3. You know, we've got those players that could do that. Yeah. We could disrupt a lot of teams. I think our fitness levels are probably high enough to be intense because we recruit that way. But in my head, is it me, the manager, that's going, well, I wouldn't play football like that. In my head, my philosophy of the team is we play this way. We keep the ball, we draw teams into us, and we look to exploit the space that way. And when we are under pressure, that's when the manager, come in and I make the tweaks that win us the game. And I work out when the subs come on and when we shout and the little tweaks.
Yeah, that's the thing, like, which is the opposite. Like, I don't like seeing my team under any pressure. Like, the moment I start seeing the AI build up, like, my heart just sinks in and then it's just horrible. And I'm like, oh, here they go. They're going to score again. So that's why I hate it when the AI have the ball. Whereas then you see me, if you watch again and watch me stream, the moment we have a high recovery, when we win the ball back high, I'm celebrating like we just got. I'm like, go on, that's what I'm talking. But that's how I enjoy football. That's the way I play. Like, if I was to coach a team outside right now, that would be my preferred way of playing football. Trying to win the ball back high and try and create a chance through it and that sort of thing. So, and that's just the way I enjoy the game, sort of thing. And even that way, like, I know the more intense results, I mean, sometimes the more intense tactics can bring certain results. That's why, again, you can either just dial some things in or you just use certain roles, like a complete forward poacher and a full stand up front. It's not a popular choice of a front three at all. I'm not sure you would Like you wouldn't even go to that to if you're making a tactic sort of thing. But again, it's one of those things that it's just something that I like to see in a
Yeah.
tactic. I know it's not perfect, but that's what makes it perfect for me.
Well,
Do you know what I mean?
I remember last year, like we get people banging the drum, going, "Oh, you need advance forward. You need an advance forward." I'm like, I'm playing a pressing forward. And they're like, yeah, but advance forward. I was like, yeah, but a pressing forward is going to run the channels, and that's what I want in this system. So like, I could use an advance forward. I could, but
even us, we even use pressing
we're
forward
playing slightly
defend
differently. And
we use pressing forward defend a lot.
Yeah.
We use it defend a lot.
Oh,
and again, it's just to be like it's just something different. Like when they're playing away team, a difficult away team, just use pressing forward on defend. Like, it's just something
role,
different.
It's a beautiful
and
role.
it's unexpected. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You literally don't know. You don't know. At least with advanced forward, I don't know. Like you might just have this thing in the back of your mind, like he has a chance to score, sort of thing. Like with a pressing forward on defend, you don't even know. You might not even know what you're looking out for. You're just watching the game like, what am I actually looking out for here?
The way I visualize it is I think that if I've got an advanced forward in, he's always going to be high. He's always going to be high. He's going to be up on the shoulder of the last defender. But with the pressing forward, and again, I waxed lyrical all last year about complete forward. I like a player to come and collect and like sort of join the units of my midfield and my strikers.
Literally,
because I figure that if he comes deep, picks the ball up, then there's a chance that sometimes one of his defenders is going to come with him, which is going to open a pocket of space for hopefully my winger or my wing back or whatever to be like, oh, look at that over there. That's a little bit of
and that's why
or my pressing forward going, oh, hang on, oh, I'm in there, thank you. Like
it's like my system, I call them false wingers. Like I call them false wingers because rather than being wingers and then drifting inside, they're actually inside that drift. So you could say like a Mazzala, but they're actually like inside and then they just drift out wide. So we're using like the player instructions, stay wider and run wide with the ball. Again, it's just unpredictable. Like your striker, he picks up the ball rather than running towards goal, he's running away from goal. In my idea, it's to create that space between defensive lines and that sort of stuff. That's my idea. I've got obviously the video about it. But again, I could just use these certain roles that it's not going to give me that sort of, like when I'm watching the game as well, I want to win. I know I want to win. I want to gamify it to a bit, but I also want to see my idea play out while I'm doing that sort of stuff. Rather than, do you know what I mean? Like I could just lob balls over defense lines all day long with a pacey striker. And I'm not going to lie, I do enjoy watching people use that. Like, I'm not going to lie, when I'm watching people stream, like, I absolutely don't even mind watching that. Like, I find it, as long as the streamer is enjoying the way, what bugs me the most is a streamer not enjoying what he's seeing. Like, he's just sitting there, just like, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. He just get, like, you're just gamifying the game because you feel you have to win because whatever it is. That's what I don't enjoy. But if you're just using these double advanced forwards, but you're celebrating every goal and you're giving players crazy names and you're just thoroughly enjoying the save, that rubs off on you. Then that's why, again, a lot of people watch Tony, a lot of people watch me stream. They play a complete different way. There's probably things that we do that bugs them a little bit.
Yeah, I've got a list. I've got a list.
But because they see me enjoying their post corners, like there's probably so many people like, oh, not this again. Like when I highlight loads up, oh, I hope he doesn't score from this again. Then we score from it. I'm playing my sound bite and I'm scoring and I'm doing my celebration. But people just enjoying the show of it.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
That's the key word. It's a show. It's entertainment.
Yeah.
We are putting on an entertainment product. We are not, and again, I've said this to a few people on stream recently. The difference between playing Football Manager and streaming Football Manager are two different things. Like, I would play the game differently if I was just sat with my laptop playing Football Manager. I would play it so differently than how I stream it. Because when I'm streaming it, I'm wanting to tell you things. I'm wanting to get you engaged. I'm wanting to be like, hey, this guy, he's a bit of an underdog character, isn't he? We like him. Like, or you know what? We've overspent on him. He's not quite the guy, is he? We want to create the characters. We want to create rivalries. We want to create moments so that when we win something, we feel something. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to sell you entertainment.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So There is that. There's that way of doing it. So I think you can make the game too easy. You can make the game a little bit more difficult. Let us know, of course, what you think, because this is the conversation. It's not just us telling you, no, I think you find the game not too easy, right? Remember, comment section, let us know whether you think the game's too easy, whether it's a bit too difficult, things you do to make the game easier, things you do to make the game more difficult. Obviously, chat. Well, yeah, you could save scum. If you do save scum, then own it, right? And let us know you save scum. It's a good point. No,
like, I don't even know if I want to say his name, but there's a streamer who's just openly does it, and just like, it's the most hilarious thing. He's just doing it like it should be a game, and he just doesn't like the way he's lost. Like, he's just lost at home to Brentford. He's like, nobody's seeing this. No one's seeing this. He's just like quitting again. He's loading it up again. But you can just see in the chat, everyone's just laughing their head off. Everyone's having a great time. No one's judging. It would have been different if he's like feeling some sort of way about it, and like how I get a bit emotional. Like, if it was me, like, oh no, this game, man, this bloody game, and I load it up, and then that's a bit different than someone completely owning it and like, this is my thing. This is literally my thing. Like, people know it's gonna happen one day. Just wait for it.
That's your stick, innit?
It gets to a point where like, I want him to lose, just so I can see it. I want him to lose just so he can reload it again.
Oh, I just have to adjust my seat. Oh, I've kicked the plug out again. What a surprise.
It's even funnier when he loads it again, goes into the game, he starts scoring, the way he's celebrating.
Is it not funnier if he loses?
Yeah. There's that as well. So when it's like a Liverpool, obviously Liverpool, it might take 3 or 4 tries to actually. It's funny when he doesn't do it, just like instant result, and the instant result wins first time.
Mate, unbelievable.
That sort of stuff is like, it's funny to watch. It can be funny to watch. It's genuine.
So there you go. If you do save scum, let us know. Own it.
I need to see videos.
We should as well. We should do some shout outs before we go to community challenge. So massive shout out to everyone who's been joining up on Patreon. Aaron, we've been getting an absolute landslide recently. So partly off the back of the Jack Kenmare episode, which was last week. So again, a huge shout out to Jack for that. Lee Campbell 3299 on YouTube said, this is the best episode yet. Constant laughter. So I'll take that as a bit of praise. So amazing. Thank you very much. And shout out to Jack for coming on, who was awesome. And we should probably get him back on to actually talk about the fact he interviewed Freddie Adu and Sue Patton. The reason he was there and we forgot.
Yeah, I think we're just so excited. Even him himself, in it. Like, once you get into these stories, sometimes you could it just takes you away sometimes, man.
Yeah. So huge shout out to new Patreons: Scott Wallach, Willem, Captain Zeep, Brandon Coulter, Chris, FM Girl, Sam Edwards, Jim Engholm, and Joseph Ward. Your support is, of course, incredibly appreciated, isn't it, Aaron?
Oh, yes. And if you want to become a member too, make sure you go to patreon.com/the FM Show Pod. That's patreon.com/the FM Show Pod.
Yes, and you can, of course, be a Patreon from as little as £3 a month, and you get early access to these public episodes. They come out on a Thursday, you get them on a Wednesday. And you also get an extra bonus episode on a Monday, which nobody else gets to see. And you get some of the surprise specials, which we've had ones where we did Christmas special, which was pretty good with Dupe and Breezy. We did a watch along with Second Yellow Card, watching Goal 3. It's so bad. The film's bad. The special's great, but the special's brilliant. The film's awful.
I was just about to say, hey.
So as Aaron says, head over to patreon.com/the FM Show Pod. We have a community challenge as well, Aaron. We should probably give some shout outs to people who are doing the community challenge. If you aren't aware of what that is, we've popped a save file in Discord and in the description of the show the last few weeks, where we're playing in Portugal. We've offered out the idea to say, look, maybe consider Porto, maybe consider Sporting, maybe consider Benfica. 3 to 5 seasons seems to be where we're trying to go for until some sort of international tournament kicks off soon, and then we'll do a new tournament at that point. So some people have been letting us know how they've been getting on. We've got one here from Steve L that says they were pumped about this one from the Discord. Was looking for a new save. Love playing in Portugal. My first save this year was sporting and using the inspiration from RDF Tactics. Using the sporting tactic. Sold loads of players, made loads of money, brought the youth through, won the league and in Europe. But this time I'm going to go with Porto. Pulled the inspiration from a special one tactics. Pulled the inspiration from the special one tactic and style, including press conferences. There you go, making the game more tricky. I'm a fan of the special one, more as a character than a coach. So a role play Porto challenge for me. I like that, Aaron. That's be a brand new Mourinho.
That sounds a nice one. That sounds a nice one. We also got a message from Hills Weather. 10 games in to be saved with Estoril, and I love. He has love with this team already from a save before, and the love continues. He started well. He's currently 4th. I think the picture's kind of blurry at the moment.
It's 4th.
10 games, 10 games in. He's in November. Things are looking nice. He's lost 3 games, but I don't know why I was just putting out the negative there. I don't know. I don't know why I just pointed out the negative.
I mean, he's lost 3 games. He's not going to finish 4th.
FM was definitely not too easy. He's lost 3.
Invincible season gone.
Gone.
Yeah. Paddy 9596 has said, I have a dilemma. I caught up with last week's podcast and RDF has really tempted me to restart the Challengers Porto.
Oh my God. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's because he's got a really nice Porto shirt that he got from a mystery box company, and he's always wanted to play as them, but didn't know if they should or whether they should jump ship in a challenge situation. For context, however, they are unbeaten as Benfica after 5 matches, so it isn't a change they'd want to make for competitive reasons. So they're restarting the challenge as Porto because they got a nice shirt. Seems fair.
Yeah. We also got a message from Chiz FM. Back-to-back League Cup finals against Porto. Lost last season. Again, FM's not too easy. He lost the cup final. But can he go one better this year? So it is another cup final. Which cup final is this one? Because it's in February, Friday the 7th. So put that in your journal, people.
This looks like the Portuguese Cup final.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, the Portuguese Cup final in the Allianz Cup Arena. Oh, he lost on penalties. He lost on penalties. I didn't know it was it carries on. So basically what I'm doing, I'm just reading something like a screenshot, basically. That's all I've got. So I'm really zoomed in, and I didn't know that if I scroll down, there's more to his comment. He's like, we lost some penalties. And he's like, I can't even skate them in Europe. He's even drawn them in Europe as well. Oh, no. The round of 16. That's Feyenoord. That's my Feyenoord, which is they're my fiercest rivals as well. So Feyenoord, first season, cup final. We're like, yes, we got to a cup final. Feyenoord, like, wipe that smile off your face. 4-0 loss. Next season, it's like a semi-final Feyenoord. We're like, okay, if we beat them, we're definitely going to win the cup because the next 2 teams are not good teams. What was the score in that game? 6-0. So things are getting worse.
Wow.
And it's like, every time we see Feyenoord, we're like, oh, not this again, man.
Not again.
That's season 2 a wrap. The season 2 is a wrap. He finished 4th. And he got knocked out to Europa League. Oh, no.
I'm just typing on the keyboard. Football Manager is too easy. I think Chiz is very much on team. This is quite tricky this season. FM Noob has come in saying, waited for the podcast before starting the save. Now finally reached halfway through the season. Yeah. The idea I did take from the podcast was how managers don't handle signings as much, so has left it to their director of football, while they still answer all the media questions for suggestions. DOF deals with all the sign-ins. So the only player that he signed in the summer was Lello, who you have mentioned yourself, Aaron. So he gets his hopes up, but now he's in the winter. His hopes are low because the director of football is accepting bids below release clauses for quite a few players, including my MVP so far, Marcus Edwards, who has 32 goal contributions in 27 games and has now gone to Man City.
Wow.
Hoping he can get some replacements in because he says he hopes to get some replacements in. At least no one's sniffing around Gokaresh, but we'll see what happens.
Well, there we go. Talk about making FM a little bit more difficult. The DOF is handling things so he can't even reject offers for his best player in the team.
I mean, they actually goes on. He does win the season in the first season. He wins the league. So congratulations, FM Noob. The keeper was injured for the first 4 games of the season and the last 4 games of the season. He's got some sort of goalkeeper Neymar thing going on here, has he?
Yeah, I was just about to say, what country is he from? And is there any sort of festivals around those times?
Yeah, so it doesn't play the start, doesn't play the end. But hey, congratulations for winning the league with Sporting. But next season could be quite tricky because Porto have hired a new manager, Zinedine Zidane.
Oh Lord. And we've also got a message from Sport Mad 1972. First seasons in the bank, playing as Benfica, won the Super Cup, league runners-up, and a disaster in Europe just last. That's not a disaster. I last 16. Players wanted new contracts on crazy wages. I got this. I think I was Sporting, and sometimes you have enough money, but it feels like there's some sort of cap. So, for example, I could have 300,000 a week available to spend. Edwards comes in, wants a new contract, only 50 grand. Clearly can afford that. But it's like sometimes there's like a cap on the game where it's like, no, you can only offer 30 this time. You can only offer 30,
So future fees and stuff are all involved, aren't they?
So scouting's so important in the second season as a few wonder kids coming through and want bargain, and he wants good bargain transfers. Going to change the system to use a back 3 and wing backs. Also a bit more freedom in midfield. Mazzala, I fancy to help the attack, but a DM to help defense. This is the season. Good luck, Sport Mad.
Good luck indeed. Someone who doesn't need luck, however, is Wald McConville. First season done, went invincible, conceded 10 goals. This game has me confused. Went for a Carlo Ancelotti style tactic with a few instructions and somehow had the greatest season I have ever had in FM. I mean, that just undoes the last hour and a half worth of podcast, doesn't
it? Cheers, Wild. Well, thanks for that. We probably convinced a few people as well. It's like, oh, man, yeah, they got a point. And there's Mr. McConville with his bloody Carlo Ancelotti system. To be fair, though, if he's recreating Carlo Ancelotti, he's won back-to-back Champions League, so football's too easy for him.
Oh, He's copying from one of the best, right? Like,
I just noticed something as well. So earlier when you told me if I'm okay, and I'm going back literally the first 5 minutes of the show, and I remember before I was talking about how annoyed I'm getting with these flipping Panini stickers. So here we are, because it's right in front of my face. I'm going to show you. There's book number 1. There's book number 2 as well. And then was opening stickers through the Arsenal game. So these are all the open ones. And despite us having a double book, we still end up with doubles. So these have got no space now. What are we going to do with these? Fuming.
Stick them in the Discord. We'll make a Discord section for anyone who does swapsies.
The missus has got the bug now. She went on Amazon. I was at my friend's house. I took the kids out, and I just got an email. Yeah, Amazon package is delivering today. Oh, what's this? 9 packets? I was like, what? Yeah. I ruined the surprise. So I was like to my boy, you didn't tell me you're getting 9 packets. Like, you asked literally 20 minutes ago. He's like, I didn't ask for that. I was like, oh, ruined the surprise. But even she's got, because I didn't expect that. She's got the bug as well. It's just something about seeing your son just so locked in and focused on something, yeah. And he also leaves us for a good 10 minutes.
I like it.
Goodbye in those 10 minutes.
I'm gonna get it as well. I'm gonna have to get into the stickers as
well.
Right,
it's too much, man.
We'll stick a Panini challenge in the Discord, right? Okay,
we'll stick a Panini
challenge in the Discord. Sticker challenge for next year. Right. I think, Aaron, we've covered what we need to cover today, I reckon.
Yeah.
And of course, anyone who's in the community challenge, please keep those updates coming. Let us know how you're getting on. If you've not started the challenge yet, you've still got loads of time to do it. So get yourself involved. The save file is in the comments section of the description of the podcast, or it's in the Discord. You just download the save file, put it in your game, and away you go and get involved as well and let us know how you get on. We should say, if you want to update us, you can do it via any of the social media handles, Aaron.
Yes, and you can find us on all the social medias. I always say the same thing. All the social medias, especially Twitter as well. Twitter is a very good place to send us some correspondence. And we are at the FM Show Pod. On all social media channels, we are at the FM Show Pod.
We are, and of course, the Discord link is in the description as well. If you want to send us an email, please do so. It can be just a thing about maybe update for your save. It could be Tactics Garage. Send us your tactics if you need a little bit of tweaking.
Or
obviously, remember, or your opinions. Opinions are good. Opinions are worthwhile. FM Would You Rathers. You can send them in because again, with us, we can do those. But yeah, Tactics Garage. If you've got a tactic that's not maybe firing as you want, send us a screenshot of it. Tell us what's going wrong with it. Give us as much context as you possibly can. Aaron and I will be able to potentially have a look at that. Obviously, for Patreon, you get first refusal, so get those in. There's also a tier on Patreon as well where we save your saves. So again, if you want to make us do some extra work, please feel free to do that. Fire the emails through to the FM Show Pod at gmail.com. That's the FM Show Pod at gmail.com. And of course, we need to say thank you once again for spending your time with us. I would say that's a show done, isn't it? That's episode 42 in the bag. Thank you so much for listening. Hope you've enjoyed it. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe. We will see you all on the next one.
Want to learn even more about Football Manager? Subscribe to the Patreon. Just visit patreon.com/thefmshowpod. Don't forget to rate and review, and follow along on the socials at the FM Show Pod.